So Bandai had a good had a very simple and layout answer to how much money put in the prize pool for the Tekken World Tour. Capcom put $1 million. Esports World Cup puts $1 million. What does Bandai do? They put $300,000. Which, respectfully, and obviously, is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. But, in my opinion, this is just a massive slip from Bandai. Because, let's be clear, you are required to deliver. And you delivered a great game. You are adjusting, you are updating a great game. But bloody hell, you don't need to be a genius in marketing to understand that you need to put a $1 million prize pool in this tournament. Just because this is being set to be the new standard for the prize pool in this kind of events, in this kind of games. Hello there, I'm Dejan, and welcome to a new video. I have just finished to watch the Esports World Cup final. This is what we are gonna talk about. I'm just gonna say everything. Who won, who lost, big upset, and everything. So if you want to rewatch the replica and you don't want it spoiled, stop here. You have been warned. Okay, I just finished. If you haven't seen the final, my god, that's what a Tekken final should be, mostly. But Ulsan won. Actually, Ulsan didn't win. Ulsan did take a massive revenge for his country and made quite the statement. And I don't remember the movie. Oh yeah, it was in Iron Man 2 when Mickey Rourke, the guy with the whips, defeats Iron Man even by losing, just saying, I just made you bleed, so, you know, gods should not bleed. And this is exactly what happened in this tournament. So, for who don't know, Evo felt, at least in my opinion, a bit like a Pakistani Dominion. Arslan winner gets to the winner side in the grand final. Atif gets on the loser side of the grand final, just smoking everyone. Like smoking, and that's always characteristic of Atif. If it's like, imagine, like in the anime, is the opponent that looks 3 times his size, that he has this aura around him of just adamant strength, and he feels unbeatable. He always feels unbeatable. You always see him playing is like, even when he's losing around, even when he's losing a match, it looks like the momentum is still on his side. I don't know how does he do it, but he always manages to do that. I don't know how he does it, but it's always like this. I remember when I watched him playing the Tekken World Tour final live. I was in Amsterdam in 2022 and he won with Akuma. You were seeing that basically he was already over. Even from when he started at top 8, it was already over. There wasn't anyone playing on his level. He was just playing on another level. And since the Evo, everyone got worried, at least me as well, got worried that Tekken 8, at least the first season of Tekken 8, was already doomed and signed and finished as a Pakistani Dominion. Which there is nothing bad, obviously, in Pakistani players winning. But in my opinion, as long as there are country varieties, the more country varieties you have in Tekken tournaments, the more enjoyment you find into them, because they're gonna feel more competitive. Now, the Esports World Cup, until the grand final, has been a great tournament. Great tournament. Especially with the top 4 being 4 different countries, with Japan, with Double from Japan, with Atif from Pakistan, Ulsan from Korea, and Yagami from Australia. Shout out to Yagami, which he played incredibly well throughout the whole tournament. No one would have bet even a single pence on Yagami, a single one, and he made it top 4, taking back a 4-0 to 5-4 against Chanel. Insane performance, insane. But without speaking of all the single matches, great matches there have been, the final was Atif versus Ulsan. The format was a bit different. If you haven't watched, it was a single elimination tournament, first to 5, potentially 9 matches per pairing. That's a lot. That's a kind of an arcade set. What everyone would have expected did not happen. Atif made it to final, Ulsan made it to final, and if you go to watch it, is just a beat up from Ulsan towards Atif. And it is a beat up. He outplayed him in every single case, with every single style. His movement, which is something that Ulsan has always been famous for, you can see it way more in Tekken 7, where he looks like he moves at the speed of Tekken 8 in that game, which is way slower. Every sidestep was on point, every down for one was on point, every jab was on point. He just controlled him so much, and he clutched when he needed it. There is one specific round, I think it was in the third match, is the first round of the game. Ulsan has the classic little square of life left, and he does the perfect clutch rage art, and that's when he saw and he's like, it's over. Atif is not gonna bring it back. And it's been a 5-0 all the way. And Ulsan was so relaxed, so in control, he was smiling, he was dancing when he was playing. And this was such a big statement for Tekken in general, and for the Korean Tekken, such a big statement. Because Tekken is not a Dominion. Tekken is as competitive as it's ever been. And this is why the first big conclusion we can get from the Esports World Cup. The second one we can get, which we all know already, is that Dragunov needs to be toned down. It honestly feels bad. It starts to feel a bit bad to watch. It doesn't feel as bad as was Leroy Season 3, because Leroy Season 3 was next level, but it's very visible to everyone, even if you are not a ultra knowledgeable player, but you understand the game and you watch a lot of competition. You can see that what Dragunov does is just too much. It's just too much. But I'm gonna save this topic more in detail for another video, because I want to do a video about Dragunov and try to explain why he is so much. So to stay back on the statements and what conclusion we can get out of this Esports World Cup is that Korean Tekken is stronger than ever. Pakistani players, and this is actually what Ulsan said during the interview after he won, Pakistani players are human. That's a very Agent Smith, Giga Chad sentence. But they are human. They can be defeated. And I think this is something that, in my opinion, might have happened to a lot of players that were going against, especially Arslan and Atif, which are by far the two strongest Pakistani players, is the fact of approaching this match knowing that it's gonna be a hill climb instead of an even match. I don't remember where I heard this, but it was an interview from a famous tennis player, and he was explaining how some of the underdogs, when they go against the strongest tennis players, so we are talking Djokovic, we are going against Alcaraz, we're talking about this tennis player, they don't win just because they don't realize that they can play the game until your opponent took already too much advantage of your psychological state and is already winning by far. And when you start to play the game, it's too late. And in this, I think Tekken is very similar to tennis. Because in tennis, when you are the stronger player, when you are the number one on the ranking, you tend to win way more than the others. Because there is a sport that is well based on consistency rather than events. And Tekken on a long set, it becomes the same. It's a lot about consistency rather than events. And a lot of people, I feel like they approach these matches with the kind of underdog mentality. While Ulsan in this match, in this final, did not. He went there, balls of steel, and he just steamrolled. In control, on the right mindset, relaxed, and it was beautiful to watch. Just beautiful to watch. What else what other conclusion, what other things we notice in this Esports World Cup? Well, in my opinion, one thing that it's worth mentioning is that maybe the double elimination format for the finals, for the top 8, is not the only way to go. I honestly found the single elimination first to 5 very enjoyable to watch. Because being a first to 5, you privileged a lot. Even if it might feel like who's gonna win is just gonna win 5-0 or like it's just gonna be by a margin, it's not that true. Even if it happened in a couple of cases. But what it privileges, in my opinion, is the character swaps. You know, you start with a character, you lose 2 matches, you swap a character, you lose 2 matches, you can go back to your main. It's like you can see more variety in one match, in one pairing. And in my opinion, this is a massive perk. Another thing that it privileges, in my opinion, is just time efficiency. Even if it might sound that a set that can go for so much long time might have the opposite effect of making the show more difficult to enjoy because of its extent. It's actually quite the opposite, because if it's gonna be a one-sided match, it's gonna end up 5-0 and it's not gonna last that long. If it's gonna be a long match, a long set, if it's gonna be a 5-4, you really don't wanna take off your eyes from that. Because that's when I have to talk about Chanel versus Yagami. Chanel versus Yagami started with a 4-0 from Chanel, and he ended up with a 5-4 from Yagami. And you didn't want to stop to watch that. There's such a big run back, was great to watch. It was great. So this, in my opinion, is a good take. It's something that we can learn from the Esports World Cup. That the standard double elimination tournament is not the only one that there is around. How many times do you see a grand final won by the loser? How often? When was the last one? You see a reset sometimes, and after the reset, the winner, guess what, usually wins. But it's very hard, it's very rare to see the loser finalists getting the victory. It happens, yeah, but it's super rare, guys. You never see it. And you usually end up with the grand final that is a rematch of something that happened earlier in the top 8 and ends up, or in the brackets, and ends up being rinse and repeat, just with one extra match. I don't think it offers them much more than a single elimination, so this is probably open for debate. Another thing that, in my opinion, this is more on Bandai, and this has been a Bandai loss, the money. We are talking money. Esports World Cup put a $1 million prize pool, which doesn't mean that the first one gets the full million, but that the total amount of money that is going to be distributed by the competitor is going to be 1 million, and depending on your position, you're going to get less or more or less money. So the first one, Ulsan got $300,000, which is a lot. It's probably the biggest prize pool there is ever been in Tekken, and that is going to be in Tekken for a while. Now, this is not the first time that you see a $1 million prize pool in a fighting game tournament. Capcom did the same with the release of Street Fighter 6, and it was the smartest move they could do. And I was waiting to watch and to see. I was waiting to see how Bandai would have answered to this, to Capcom in general, and then to the Esports World Cup. Because let's just be clear, Bandai doesn't enjoy that much the Esports World Cup. For how much at the end is good advertisement for the game, is not affiliated with the Tekken World Tour. It takes focus again away from the Tekken World Tour, and it makes the Tekken World Tour Finals the second most important Tekken tournament after the Esports World Cup. And it's not EVO the most important Tekken tournament. EVO is the biggest and most important fighting game event that there is overall throughout the whole FGC community. But if you're talking Tekken World Tour has always been more competitive to win. If you want to be the number 1 Tekken player, you have to win the Tekken World Tour. Or you win 5 EVOs like Arslan. That's different. You win 5. If you want to be the strongest in the season, the Tekken World Tour requires you to perform throughout the whole year. And then after you have done that, you challenge the strongest, the best performers throughout the whole years. And the winners between those is elected the Tekken World Tour, the Tekken World Tour champion, which is, at the end of the day, still now the best performing Tekken player of the year, in my opinion. You are the best Tekken player of the year if you win the Tekken World Tour. So Bandai had a very simple and layout answer to how much money put in the prize pool for the Tekken World Tour. Capcom put $1 million. Esports World Cup puts $1 million. What does Bandai do? They put $300,000. Which, respectfully, and obviously, is a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And it's 3 times more what was in 2022. And I'm not aware, I think in 2023 already they increased the pool, but I think it's at least a double, but I'm not sure about that. But in my opinion, this is just a massive slip from Bandai. Because let's be clear, I've been defending Fight Pass. I've been defending. I've been understanding of Deluxe Gold Edition, all the kind of stuff. Because it's marketing, because you're a business, you need to make money. But there are instances where as well you are required to deliver, and you delivered a great game. You are adjusting, you're updating a great game. But bloody hell, you don't need to be a genius in marketing to understand that you need to put a $1 million prize pool in this tournament. Just because this is being said to be the new standard for the prize pool in this kind of events, in this kind of games. Because we are not talking Dragon Ball Fighters, we are not talking Mortal Kombat 1, which sells a lot of copies, but no one plays the game competitively. And we are not talking, don't get me wrong, I know that there is a lot of follow for the game and it's low, but we are not talking Guilty Gear Strive, which is the third most played fighting game that there is around. We are talking Tekken. Tekken and Street Fighter, they compose more than 50% of the FGC. You can see that, go to watch the numbers of the Evo, okay? How many competitors there were for Street Fighter 6 and Tekken, and then compare that throughout the whole number of Evo, of the competitors in Evo, and you see how important are those two games. So why Bandai don't you just do it? Because let's talk clear, you are economically capable to cover an expense like this. So overall, winners, well, Ulsan and Korean Tekken, yes. I've never seen CBM so excited. Not even when CBM wins was excited than like as much as when Ulsan won. Esports World Cup, best tournament around by far. Just even the quality of the studio, the super concept of their trophy is insane. There is a full video I just did just to explain how their trophies works, and it's insane. It's like the most anime thing you could put in a trophy. It doesn't get more anime than that. And losers is, my opinion, is I don't want to even say Bandai, because Tekken is just getting better advertisement, but putting the 300,000 prize pool and having this event now is just not shining well on the Bandai side. Anyway, this was a very quick one, and I did it now just after I watched the final, because I just wanted to let it out. I hope I managed to release it in 2 days. I know I've not been releasing as many videos as usual, because I'm very busy with my main job, unfortunately now, covering colleagues in holidays, so bear with me, everything's gonna be back on track soon. But for the rest, thank you so much for stopping by. I've been Dejan, you have been awesome as always, and I'll see you next time. Ciao!